going to be more of that DPS backline trying to kite around and do damage from afar rather than that get stuck in 4-man, 3-man ults.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Tien. This is not how you want to start the game. Who will we give the kill to? We'd like it to be Wako, and there it is. Prayer Brave Emogi, and Wako starts off this game. How it left off, 1-0 as the Wako.
Yeah, and if the plan was to play around this Ezreal, he gets off to an amazing start. Getting to start a tier on the Ezreal, especially when you've got this TP as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This is an immense start for Wako here. With the teleport, obviously you don't really need combat summoners against the Smolder. You're not at any real threat of going down. Yeah,
no one forcing you to take cleanse on the side of Ground Zero either. Really nice pickup on the TP from Wako. Underutilized in the ADC role.
Oh, who got that? Okay, it was Jimmian. That was very close to Kaiwing yoinking that one, but now Jimmian will get level 2 on the first wave, making this lane just that slight bit harder for Fido as well, but nice Phosphorus Bomb comes out early.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of scouting by the side of Frank to find that ward on the blue buff. As this mid lane should just be very uneventful trading CS.
You'd also think bot lane uneventful, but I mean, that hasn't really been the case at all.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay of Thiem face checking. Not much he can do once he does face check this. Has a ward he could just chuck into the bush, and it is a puzzling face check by Thiem when the rest of his team isn't really pushing forward and finding the members of Frank, so you have to suspect something is up on the level 1. Good scouting by the Frank coaches. They probably just saw him face check that bush in game 1. I didn't notice it. But yeah, good strategy, and we're going to see maybe the difference in the coaching staff, you know, behind the scenes between these teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it should be a slow start to this game. Obviously, Ground Zero wanted to be as slow as possible, get those Corki and ultimately stacks online here for the Smolder. Whereas the side of Frank, they also, you're more than happy to get 1-2 items on the brand, and Wako wants those 2 items too, so most likely won't see too much action outside of just some trading in the lanes. As I say that, top is not going well. Interestingly, it's a Doran's Blade here for Tien, really trying to punish the lane, but maybe not finding any real benefit off it just yet.
Yeah, Poppy should be favored in the early parts of this lane. Cassante certainly outscales. And Crack has lost too much HP for this dive to ever be possible, I think, for Ground Zero.
Yeah, Lemus as well, very low. And Gemini finds out Shunfai. This is really bad. Shunfai, he's trying to find the damage, but this is just a Zyra flash available for him, but he's not able to use it. Yes, he is able to eventually. And this Nimbus Cloak maybe gets him away. Kaiwing, though, is not so sure of it. And now Kurak getting looked at. Stun won't go through. And somehow Shunfai able to just Houdini his way out of that interaction.
Yeah, still a massive loss for the side of Ground Zero. They do get the... It is an equal trade of flashes, actually.
So maybe not the end of the Fire both flashed. Oh yeah, Kaiwing as well.
Yeah, actually, ends up okay somehow for Ground Zero. Shrimfire getting away with murder. Sees his bot lane get chunked and not be able to help him, and then still just invades. Can't help himself when he sees the enemy jungler is weaker.
I think he might have thought that Gemini's pathing top, because ultimately they had that one scout ward, and it was taken away by Kaiwing and Jimmian. So I think he might have thought that Gemini starting that blue buff, the wolves, and then going up to the top side.
Yeah, possibly, but he was running straight at Grom. We'll see a Hex Flash onto Jimmy in the mid lane. No flash on this Alistar. And Kaiwing is kicking himself for holding onto his Ignite.
Oh, true,
in that previous fight.
Wako's going to be able to trade really aggressively here because he does have that teleport, and Lemus is fresh off a base, so the more damage you can do before recalling is going to feel really good here.
-1 for Lemus. Unfortunate reality of having to last hit under your tower is you're just going to miss some CS. Sucks that it is the cannon, though, for Lemus. So Thien has a massive wave he needs to make sure crashes.
Yeah, but look how much CS Yi Zhang found himself in.
Yeah, once he picks this up, he might be almost 20 CS up at 5 minutes. The Poppy pick just not really getting it done.
Oh, really good last hitting.
Yeah, perfect CSing. Yeah, it does find himself at almost 20 CS up on this Poppy.
Should be matched recalls, but this time, unlike last game, Tien's actually the one that's going to be able to just walk on back there and not lose his teleport. As you see, he does ping out the teleport of Yi Zhang.
Yeah, and he's going to need to take some heavy trades with this Cassante, who has no TP, and TP back into this lane if he's going to even out this lane ever. Correct.
Was he going to be able to find that headbutt?
No flash on Kaiwing.
Yeah, no flash on Kaiwing, but flash available for Wako as Gemini and Shunfire find each other in that river, and Kurek's being looked at. He's very, very low, and the Ignite is ticking. This should tick away, but Wako manages to find it with that Mystic Shot. Now 2-0 on this Ezreal as things go pear-shaped in the bot lane.
Oh, and Lemus's wave is just in such a disastrous spot now. You really would have loved Shunfire to just come down to help you get this wave crashed if you're the side of Ground Zero. Correct, you see he's got no follow-up on the Smolder. The Conqueror Ezreal is so much stronger than your out-of-mana Smolder at this point in the game.
At any point of the game, the old out-of-mana Smolder doesn't bode well.
Bright spot for Ground Zeroes that Fido is doing perfectly fine in this lane.
This is true. Fido definitely playing well for himself and could be a deciding factor heading on later into the game because, as I said at the top of the show, even when he is behind going into mid-game, he often just outperforms.
Yeah, 0-3 will still just do the most damage in a game out of nowhere, will Fido, and not as countered by the Zeri as he was by the Yone in the mid and late game team fights. And another engage from Kurak is going to get him killed here.
No flash, and ultimately just used both his abilities, and Gemini's down here. Nice sidestep there though, but Gemini's still looking for him, doesn't have flash, doesn't land the stun, and Lima's trying to find all the damage he can. Almost turning a kill around there, but Wako now wailing at these health bars, and still very good trade and very good mechanics out of Kurak to be able to sidestep and dodge out of so much ability.
Yeah, should just 100% be dead there on the Alistair, but yeah, fancy feat from Kurak, save him. Little outplay. This is what Ground Zero are going to need to get themselves back into a game where they're already very behind.
Yeah, ultimately though, taking a look around the Rift, it is a 1k gold advantage for Frank Esports so far. Pretty much an opposite of what we saw last game, and obviously we did see Frank be able to turn that one around, and Ground Zero have their opportunity to do the same here. Pathmaker going to be cancelled out by that steadfast presence as Gemini once again looking at this bot lane. Xenoblade connects, and maybe this is going to be Kaiwing in a rough position, and he does have flash, gets on out with the tower shot. It's traded, it's a 1-for-1.
Incredibly well played by Lemus and Kurak. Don't even use any of their summoners to trade a kill back there. Gemini commits his flash too. It was Lemus just blocking the brand Q there that made the biggest difference.
We're looking for Smolder, but Shunfire is here. Frank, they're pretty much committed to this, and they are going to find that kill. Can Gemini get out? No, he's going to go down to the tower shot, and it is Shunfire with that plant damage that claims the kill credit, but still, this is more downtime for Lemus on the Smolder. He's not going to be able to pick up any of these minions as they crash into the tower.
Yeah, and this is why Alistair is so good into the Leona. Anytime she is anywhere near his tower, she is just getting sent into that tower and probably dying. Lemus blocking the brand Q, the biggest play there, because otherwise Kurak wouldn't be able to headbutt Kaiwing into the tower. Kaiwing and Gemini commit their flash on that play. Lemus unfortunately loses his flash too and goes down. But
Wako just too
perfectly
clean.
Fine. Yeah, Wako, he was putting the moves on Gemini, but couldn't quite avoid Wako as well at the same time.
3-0 now is Wako on this Ezreal.
Uh-oh.
Very, very rough position for Ground Zero to find themselves in. Tien trying to stabilize this top side, but still he finds himself just slowly but surely getting further and further behind.
Yep, Shermfire is doing very well in this game, though. Gemini spending so much time bot lane has meant that the Sire has a big CS advantage. And should be able to take away this blue. Shermfire seems pretty hesitant because he knows the Zyra can collapse on him. Both mid laners going to be in base. Just kills the buff so quickly on the Zyra.
Yeah. There's a hit and then isolated 1v1. But I also, this is something we often see, right? And it's somewhat of a critique I've had for Shermfire is that the other junglers, even Lalva in the previous series, is just so much more active on the map.
Yeah.
And so while Shermfire is finding himself an advantage, we have Gemini just the whole time getting advantages for his solo lanes, or I guess duo lane in this case.
Yeah.
Where now Wako's just 3-0, so any lead you've got as at Zyra is kind of completely null and void.
Well, you got to play out of your mind now on the Zyra to justify it. I'm not sure if he got spotted. He does get pinged. Yeah, he does get spotted. Wasn't hugging the wall. Was Shermfire. Otherwise, he can avoid that.
Frank are trying to bait this, though. And, I mean, I have to favor the 3-0 Ezreal over the Smolder at this stage of the game. So it's sitting only at 56 stacks.
Yep. Not all that much in terms of damage for the Smolder.
Ultimate available for Kurak, so he is able to tank up more than anyone else in this bot lane, but still.
So Shrimpfire is just laning with his bot lane for now. Wants to get them prio through the bot lane so that they can walk up for this dragon. Wako already torturing ground zero. It's not going to be an easy game for them. Limus loses half his HP, and this is probably the dragon uncontestable if it wasn't already for ground zero.
Oh, so quick was it. That was while correct was not in vision.
Yeah. Yeah, Wako not the easiest player to engage on. He's low on mana on the Ezreal now.
Fido in the mid lane having a much better showing, but still has found himself at a disadvantage. Now, we have seen Zeri, at least in the PCS, picked as a counter to the... Oh, hold up.
It's just dead.
Oh, it's just the classic. Yeah. Limus trying to sidestep that Mystic shot and Wako running him down with those auto attacks, and Wako finds himself a fourth.
Yeah, and we said it at the top of the night. How is ground zero going to look if Limus is ever outperformed this game? He will be outperformed by Wako. How does ground zero look? I imagine this virtually never happens domestically and hasn't happened in the playoffs so far.
Yeah. Definitely going to be a rough position to play for. Now, they do scale very well, obviously. I don't think you'd really discuss who scales better. I think they are just pretty even, all things considered.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to pick a team in terms of scaling here.
You'd used to say Smolder, but again, as we talked about yesterday, oh no. Jiang just down. Oh my god. He should be able to pick up this kill eventually, but he is out of movement. But yeah, Limus is as well.
Yeah, his E is probably just too far away.
Limus at least getting stacks from this.
Limus might get his E up and get out of here if Jiang takes too long with this.
Got his E up, but he did get slowed. Oh my god, I think Limus has made the great escape.
Yeah,
he has flash. Yeah, he's completely fine.
My goodness. Cool, calm, and collected. Limus does wander out and takes the flash off of this Cassante on his way out.
Yeah, that's teleport, flash, and... Oh, Jimmy's here. Oh my god.
And there's the Zeri ulti down too. How does he do it?
Okay, outperformed he is not, as he just burns so much around the map here for the side of Frank Esports. Now, in the meanwhile, it is Wako up on his top side. He's going to be farming himself yet another wave. Limus that whole time only getting the occasional stack from hitting this Cassante, so it is still going to be a detriment to his scaling.
Yeah, but so much tempo, resources used by the side of Frank to get nothing onto the Smolder. He even picked up the wave on his way out of there. And couldn't help but smirk to himself, Limus, as he knew, how big of a deal him surviving there was.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still obviously Frank very much in control of this game, as they are up now 2k gold, and that's extended even slightly more by the falling of one of those tower plates.
Yeah. I will say Thien will have a pretty good game now if we're going to see Wako solo kill onto Limus from Limus's POV, unfortunately.
Oh, it was just a W and an E, and then the walk down auto attack.
Just lethal. Just found lethal. Limus not recognizing he needs to run for his life early enough there. As probably not used to playing against this bed of an Ezreal. And ground zero being cheeky, trying to lane the Smolder into the Cassante here, which actually is a playable top lane matchup for Smolder, but when you're already down 2 levels and the Cassante has an item completed, not very playable at all.
Yeah, now bot lane is rotating to this mid, and this is where you start to actually get stacks on the Smolder, importantly. So Limus now should be able to find much more stacks than he was prior, but Wako, deadly accurate, misses that Mystic shot and ease forward. Now, we've seen that be punished in the past, but no one around in this occasion. Wako definitely the most fed member on the map. Jimmy and Shrimpfire not too far behind. Shrimpfire again, he picked up his early kill. He certainly has a champion that can take over a game, or at least carry through to that later stage where Fido and Limus can. So it's really up to him to bridge that gap. But they are, down 2 dragons, and you do have to make it through this Cassante, who is being looked at. There is obviously an E available. Oh, he actually finds the angle to get the all-out without it being cancelled there by TN.
This is coming from the side of ground zero.
There we are. Yeah, I mean, Jiang's dead. It's picked up there. TN picking it up for himself.
Gone down.
But yeah, it is traded.
Yeah, I'm not sure where Karak has gone down on the map. I'm assuming in this top lane it was Gemini who picked up the kill on him, who's now 2-1. Yeah, probably just gets stunned up here. Doesn't have ulti on the alley, maybe?
Oh, he's just hit by a dry Zenith Blade.
Did you really die with your ult up here as Alistair?
Well, he used ult, and they just sort of...
Yeah, and they just wait for it and kill him. No one is coming.
Oh,
Loses
losing
his
the
flash too.
too.
Probably a much bigger deal than even going down.
Yeah, I think so.
The ignite and the dots. You were always sacking the Rift Herald there, so maybe inexperience showing from Karak, who not much point in trying to get vision on the side of the map where you're never contesting. Very low, but I see a fully stacked tier, and I'm pretty sure he's about to back for his full mirror mana now.
Yeah, 4-0 now. 40 seconds left on this dragon. Jiang able to get out of dodge there, but doesn't have teleport, so maybe look for a recall quickly if Frank want to contest this dragon. There's nothing else on the map, so it would make sense for them to do so, unless they want to just put some priority on that top side and perhaps look for an inner tower.
Yeah, I think Frank are rushing to get Wako this spike on the Ezreal. If he can recall and TP back into this fight, he is so accelerated on this Ezreal. He's getting this spike almost a full 5-6 minutes before we usually see it.
Lemus cancelled his back. That is a big deal.
Yeah, slows the tempo down of Wako, but ultimately has TP.
Yeah, I forget about that.
You are walking into a Zyra who's had so much time. Sternfire has been here for a full minute setting up plants. So it could be scary now for the side of Frank to contest this dragon, but you need to get this dragon if you're ground zero.
Yeah, and this is... Oh, okay. All right, we're good. It was just a quick 180. Quick scope. Lemus on the way in. That's the mid lane tower now taken out, and all of this plant setting up will just go to the wayside as Frank will get control of that mid wave, and thus the dragon...
Yeah, Shrimpfire's lost half his HP, I'm guessing, to just the poke out of this monstrously fed Ezreal.
Yeah. No argument as to who was the strongest champ in this game at this stage of it. It's Fido. Once again, he's finding his way to these gold and to this item, but play the Rune King actually for Jimmy in here, first item, which is a surprise. Flash away there, form shoot fire. Now we have a Zyra without flash.
Yeah. And without smite for a couple seconds, but we'll be back up in time. Shrimpfire is 2 levels up on Gemini, as Athena is being really annoying and somehow took half of Jiang's HP off.
I think that's just still from earlier when Jiang face-checked into Shrimpfire.
Wako also missing half his HP. You might just be able to get this dragon now if you're ground zero.
Yeah, it is down now to 6k HP. We'll be resetting and getting topped back up on health, but it's ground zero with control over this river. Jimmy trying to poke away at these health bars as Tien in that pit. Have to be careful of Brand. While we are talking a lot about Wako, Brand is very, very strong at this stage of the game. Through comes Mom. Kaiwing does go forward with that Zenith Blade, and Kurek does pull the trigger. Brand, can he get the ult off? No, it doesn't look like he could. Yes, he did, actually. That is a lot of damage, and Wako's going forward. Not able to find the kill there onto Tien, who is slowly burning away, but the Brand passive will not be able to take him down. Still is actually burning, though, but the health pot seems to have kept him alive. Now, very low health bars across the rift here for ground zero as Wako eating forward constantly. They do have the smite, and it's the side of Frank that do not, but it's the side of Frank who, regardless of losing their jungler, being low on HP, are able to secure themselves that third dragon.
Yeah, Wako is just way too strong in this game for them to do anything. That's an Ezreal ulti that passes through some creeps, but still massively chunks Lemus, and you see what happens when you don't get the clean engage onto this Brand. If that was a flash in the mid lane, Lemus dead.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm not too happy we panned away at that exact time. Jimmy being looked at. Has that lightning crash, though? This could be dangerous. It looks like he should be able to be taken out, although he has the flash available, so he won't be able to go down. But yeah, Schönfire might just go down himself. All out comes through from Jiang, and it's pretty clear cut at that stage. Now the steadfast present not available for Tien, but Jiang just going to back away. Should be able to pick up this tower, and Jimmy doing well to survive that engagement.
Yeah. I mean, great. They get the bot tower, and Tien on the Poppy not able to disrupt the just a Q flash from Ezreal, I'm guessing here. As yeah, greedy recall. Would have been very close to finishing it. Oh, just E flash actually into the auto. Very smooth from Wako.
Yeah,
doesn't look that quick when I do it.
5-0. That is a very, very scary squad Israel to go up against. He's going to be very quickly making his way to that Bloodthirster, and you know, that last fight, he was low on HP. You thought it could be their opportunity back to find that team fight, to find that dragon, but he's going to be picking up the Bloodthirster second, simply because it is Wako, and he does that every single game.
Yep. And that from the Bloodthirster from ahead feels so oppressive.
Yeah.
As Shrimpfire is focusing on poke this game. Going to get the double dots going, actually, over the Rylai's. Rylai's feels a lot stronger in my eyes as the second item.
It's really good at disrupting. like, yeah, you find a lot of value out of just disrupting people rather than do that raw damage, because you are not lacking for damage on the side of Ground Zero.
Yeah, and on the Zyra just in general.
Yeah, this is true.
Because if you're going to take any fight on Ground Zero, you need to wait for Fido to finish this mirror mana he has now.
Yeah, big spike. So Ground Zero, I mean, you're not going to favor them because it is matched, but I guess they have some play.
Correct.
With that Corki. Kurek finds his way onto Kaiwing, but not going to have the strength to take him out.
Yeah, has to actually lose his ulti on the Alistar now, so they will be able to take some control of the river here, but Frank will push them out.
Yeah, just so scared of this Baron. I don't really think Frank are truly threatening a Baron. I think Wako hasn't recalled in quite a long time.
Yeah, I think anytime the enemy AD is this fed, there's a Zeri on the enemy team, a Brand. You do have to just constantly worry about the Baron.
Somehow, regardless of the 5-0 Israel, the champ that will do the most damage to the Baron is the Brand.
Yeah, ridiculous HP-based burns and burst on this champion.
Jimmy being looked at again, but he's playing somewhat aggressive. Not really all that aggressive, but he does just have his support there. Like last time, had the teleport available for Yi Jiang. Oh, Lemus, he's going to take a large chunk of damage. Yeah. Oh, actually, he wasn't in range and dodges out of the queue.
Yeah, nice little dodge there. Somehow finds a two-man ulti. Goes Wako.
4 people up on this top side. Now, you know how we always talk about how it's usually good to get the Runans up against 3 melees? I wonder how much value you get out of the Runans because of Zyra plants.
Yeah, just hits some Zyra plants, takes them out. They do a lot of damage, so it is a big deal just being able to kill those. And Wako's just looking for farm everywhere on the map, but for now it is Jimmy getting the most farm in the game and kept up with by Fido. And
I don't think Fido wins that 1v1, but he actually might.
He could. He is so strong. Runans doesn't do a lot for your 1v1 compared to the Mura mana.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, Dian has finally made his way to the bot lane as Frank may be a little over-grouping here, wanting to threaten the Baron, I guess.
Yeah, 171 stacks here for Lemus, so certainly not where he wants to be at this stage of the game, but will, bit by bit, get himself more and more. Obviously, 176 now as he clears out that minion wave. But ultimately, he's not going to have it before the spawning of this 4th dragon. And it's something that we kind of didn't touch on in the last Smolder game, and we haven't touched on yet this game. But if you remember back to spring, pretty much the talking point was, can Smolder get those stacks online before the 4th dragon comes through? Yeah. On this occasion, he hasn't been able to. So this fight's going to be a lot harder than you would wish it to be, especially at the disadvantage you just find yourself based on gold, regardless of the Smolder stacks.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't been able to stack on the Smolder at all. Jiang actually takes massive damage here.
Yeah, but does have teleport available to himself. True Shot Barrage comes through, lands onto Kurek and Fido as Jimmy trying to do damage on that side. Fido does get clipped by another one of those Mystic shots, and bit by bit, these plants are doing slight amounts of damage, but ultimately it's not going to be all that impactful. Now, Jiang looking for that recall, looking for that teleport, as the river control is kind of being conceded back to the side of Frank Esports. The teleport coming in, and there's no way Ground Zero can engage on an Alistar this low, despite having that ultimate available. And so with that, Frank is going to start up this dragon. Now, what are Ground Zero going to be able to do to try to get through? It's so hard to walk through this Ezreal constantly firing at you, this Brand constantly flowing out things at you, and obviously the Zeri with that W. As Jiang finds a nice knock-up, he's going to be able to get out of most of this engage. He's getting quite low, half HP, but Tien does use his Stefan Present. This might be Jiang just going down. He flashes away. He's going to get taken out. Fido claims that kill, and maybe some play here in the team fight for the side of Ground Zero. Now, Jiang, obviously not in this fight. He wasn't the most impactful member of the team as Gemini Spurley in the pit. He's looking for the flip, and Gemini is so good for them, and he's good for it once again. It's the soul for Frank Esports as Kurek running away from Kaiwing is going to get cleaned up here by Wako. Jimmy going aggressive. Lightning Crash. The flash fall from Tien to try and deny this Zeri, but won't be able to do anything of the sorts. The flash from Lemus does keep him alive for just that much bit longer, but Wako will secure the kill with the auto attack. Gemini gets the kill over onto Tien. It's an ace for the side of Frank Esports.
Yeah, fortunately, Ground Zero did actually get the Surenfire winning the Dragon Smite fight.
Oh, it was.
But they lose all 5 members, and it looked like such a good fight as a flank onto a Cassante feels weird from Ground Zero, but this champion just hates front to back so much. He gets locked up, the Poppy pick coming in clutch there to stun him up and sniped out by Fido, and it's just the Brand ulti from Gemini that claws this fight back for Frank. Watch this Brand ulti onto Surenfire and Fido. It's off the dragon. He bounces it off the dragon and just essentially takes 2 members out of the fight. Fido and Surenfire just die 100-0 to a Brand ulti and a W. And then from there, it's just so easy for Jimmy to play this fight on the Zeri. And yeah, Limas tries his best, but Wako is so strong on this Ezreal. And we've got a replay here. It was,
oh, I think Kurak might be getting taken out as picture-in-picture. They're taking the Baron, so that confirms my suspicions. And yeah, clean as can be. Baron now for Frank Esports. So, while yeah, you can argue that Ground Zero just bought themselves an extra 5 minutes on the clock for the Smolder to scale up, it is the Baron now going over. And without the stacks coming through, is Jang actually being looked at yet again. Steadfast presence available for 10. Out comes pretty much everything, but Jang is just withstanding and somehow makes his way out. Doesn't have teleport though, so this will be a little bit of pressure off the map.
Yeah, Jang not tanky at all on this Cassante, but his team are just so strong. It doesn't feel like it really even matters. He seems like a great target in these fights for Ground Zero, who, you know, might be lacking frontline if their backline just wasn't so strong.
Yeah, this red buff will be picked up by Frank. Complete vision control on the bot side of the map. I don't know when, but this bot lane tower was taken out. I don't exactly remember that occurring, but...
it was when, I think it was Fido got dived. Someone got dived bot by Jiang and Jimian.
Okay.
And then they just continued and took a tier 2 bot.
Now, Baron up, minion wave coming in this bot lane, but it isn't synced once again. It's something that we've seen Frank struggle with. So it should be okay, and especially with Smolder wave clear coming through.
Yeah, Fido close to level 16 as well. That feels great on the Corki. Because the enemy ADC has beat him to level 16.
Yeah. Wako very, very strong. Not doing all that much damage to Tien despite landing that Essence Flux and Mystic shot. Certainly does a lot to Shenfire though, as he clips one singular auto there. And
yeah,
not sure exactly what just occurred mid, but we got a little picture-in-picture.
Yeah, kind of the weakness of the build that Wako seems to prefer on the Ezreal, being Bloodthirst or third item, means that Thien is ignoring him.
Yeah, Tien does cancel that ultimate, so we'll have it back in 5 seconds. But a 3-man Solar Flare comes out in the ult. Lightning Crash secures the deal. That Shenfire now taken out 4v5 at their base, and not all that much committed by the side of Frank, especially having this brand ult up still is going to feel fantastic if they do choose to take a fight. Now just choosing to tank up this tower as Kaiwing, but so much damage onto Gemini. Maybe they're able to find a kill. Lima's trying to get in. Gemini flashes away though, does manage to survive that Archu with the Zhonya's as Tien now really stuck in a rough position, but Wako not joining the fight, rather taking that bot lane inhib means they are going to be able to survive.
Yeah, they do grab an inhib on the side of Frank, and probably the most impactful inhib once the Baron comes up again in that bot lane inhib, but I guess that's okay if you're Ground Zero. I mean, you saw in that siege why the Leona is so heavily prioritized when you know it's going to be the AP versus AP jungle matchups. Zyra just is dead the moment a Solar Flare connects onto her. No flash up for Shermfire to dodge out of it.
Oh, value. Double pink ward there in that bush. Now, 30 seconds on this dragon. Obviously, Shermfire stealing that last one means this is only going to be the soul, no Elder possible. And Frank, again, they are just so strong. Wako, especially 8-0 now, doesn't have quite yet access to that Spirit Shogun, that massive damage amplification. Also doesn't have any form of armor pen for, in particular, this Poppy.
Yeah, look at the jungle.
Oh, Shenfire. Oh, no, looking for the ward, and he is just completely taken out. Teleport's coming in from Wako, and looks like Fido trying to get in here as well. Actually, Tien, sorry. There is going to be Shenfire going down ahead of this dragon, and Zhang just looking for the fight. Finds it onto Fido. Fido going to be able to flash away. All out comes through to bring Tian back to his team. Maybe not the easiest target to take out, but Jimian's on the flank. We found Jimian on the flank, and Limas might be able to take him up, but no. He gets on over that wall, and now he's looking for the stun, looking for the slow, and everyone's going down. It's only going to be Limas left alive, and if this is not a metaphor for the entirety of Ground Zero in a lot of these playoff games, it certainly looks like it to me, but it's a clean ace for Frankie Sports as they will claim game number 2.
Yeah, Kaiwing finds another engage somehow as Gemini is more interested in the soul, maybe buffing up his stats a little bit, but clean engage from Kaiwing and then another immaculate brand ulti from Gemini. And yeah, a clean game from Frank. Ground Zero able to laugh it off, but now they find themselves down 2 games in this series, having to make a big drastic change, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're Frank, just keep things going as they were. I mean, in this game in particular, again, Ground Zero were behind, but so many of these team fights were on a knife's edge. I think ultimately Tien actually outperforming Yi-Jiang,
for sure.
because Yi-Jiang was up something like 30 CS in that lane. So you could say the lane phase, certainly Yi-Jiang outperforming. But when it came to these team fights, the impact this Poppy had was much higher than Yi-Jiang.
He was bullying him.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter because Wako was 8-0-4 in that last fight. Gemini is just able to have so much more backline access than we were able to see from Churnfire on that Zyra. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you have to change, but something has to change here for Ground Zero.
Yeah, and I think it honestly starts with the point you made during that game in that Churnfire just needs to play for his team a little bit more. He found himself 20 CS up in that game, but big deal. On top of that, Kaiwing and both Gemini actually just had double Churnfire